Welcome to DKtalkies, and I am Deepti. Today on our podcast, we are going to dive deep into conversations which are very inspiring, challenging, and uplifting. We've invited a guest who is a book author who's written this book, Message from God. Let's see who is this author. Our today's guest is a visionary author who has brought us a book that promises to offer profound spiritual insights. His name is Mr. Pradip Mukherji. His work, Message from God, has been hailed as a groundbreaking piece of literature that explores divine communication in a way that's both accessible and deeply enlightening. A few more credentials which Pradipji has already received in his life are: with his rich background in spirituality and personal growth, he has created a space for us to contemplate the deeper aspects of existence and our relationship with divine. The message in his book are not just for the mind but for the soul. Today, we will be discussing the themes, the ideas, and the personal experiences that led to the creation of this powerful book. So, thank you so much, Pradeep sir, for coming on DK Talkies today. It's a pleasure to have you. I have a very important question for you. I'm going to start from your childhood. So, I want to understand and I want to know more about your childhood.
I have noticed that every host or anchor generally wants to know the childhood of the speaker for only one reason, because they don't know the speaker, but the childhood most of the time reflects
Yes.
as to what kind of speaker he is, what kind of person he became in life. And frankly, it comes about the credibility of the person right now speaking to the viewers or to the anchor.
Yes.
And psychology does say that you are created within the first 7 years, at the most 10 years, and probably the first 5 years already everything is frozen. So, from that perspective, whatever I am at the age of 68, I am nothing but an extension of my either first 5 years or first 7 years or at the most first 10 years. I do not know what my childhood was, but I can tell your viewers that as a human, I have no, what I would say, I have no specialness in me that ultimately brought me to my current profession.
Okay.
So, whatever little I remember about my childhood is, number one, I was wanting to have fun with life. Number two, my parents never gave me any kind of conditioning, which means I was never told that I belong to this caste or this religion. I was never taken to the temple. I was never taught how to pray.
Okay.
I never was given any kind of values that this is what you should do and you should not do. They never told me what I should become in my life. So, in a way, they never had any influence on whatever is known as conditioning or whatever we call as sanskara. So, I was free from all these sanskaras. My conditioning came from all my failures and all my wanting to survive and all my limitations and all my um challenges of life as a child who was growing up and who did not have much of strength, much of abilities. I was neither good in studies, nor good in sports, nor good in my extracurricular other activities. So I was below mediocre, and I just grew up with no, and I was also not very ambitious that I wanted to become something in my life. I was just passing my time, and today also I am passing my time, and in between also I was passing my time. So, this is the human that I am, that I became as a result of my childhood.
No, it's fantastic, and thank you so much for being so candid about it. So, what do you mean by passing of my time? There is something that's hidden there also, because I can see that today you're in a very different space. So, you have not got this space, just like that. There is some work definitely that you've done on yourself.
I did some work on myself. I'm not saying I didn't do, but not because I was ambitious, not because I was, it's something like I went to business. Okay. Now, in business, I was not really interested in earning money. I was interested to learn what the dynamics of money is. I
Got
was
it.
interested to learn what the dynamics of business is. I was interested to learn what this relationship of owner and employee, uh, someone delivering services and someone receiving the services. So all these dynamics was more interested in me. I was not interested to scale up my business 10 times, 20 times, nothing like that. I was pretty happy where my business was, and everyone told me you are doing a very big mistake because if you don't grow, you will actually fall. But that was not, I grew, but that was part of my destiny because of which I grew, but not because I wanted to grow, not because I was overworking to make my business grow. I was having fun at that point of time. And I was always having fun in my school, in my college, in my work area, in my other explorations that I did. So I was curious, and that curiosity was just the part of my life.
Got it. So well said. So, what made you launch this particular book, which says Message from God? What exactly is all this?
So, as I told you, that God never was a part of my journey in life,
Ji.
any kind of God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, some people say God is in the temple or mosque or church. That didn't touch me. Some people say God is within me. I never found that one inside me. So, God was not a part of my vocabulary. The only thing that was a part of my vocabulary was, am I having fun or not? That is the question I would always dwell into.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as I was enjoying life, I felt my life was perfect.
Okay.
So, in spite of all my failures,
Mm-hmm.
in spite of all my limitations,
Mm-hmm.
in spite of all my shortcomings,
Ji.
I always felt my life is sorted out.
Got it.
Why? Because I never felt that I wanted to be anything other than what I was.
Mm.
But I had a fascination to know about the mind, and from that place of knowing about the mind, I started going deep into what is known as, in our current vocabulary, all the self-help things, all the healing modalities, all the knowledge about all kind of transformation. So I did not want to become anything through my transformation, but I was curious about what this thing called transformation is, what this thing called enlightenment is, what this thing called self actualization is, what this thing called soul realization is. So curiosity, not ambitions. I didn't want to be any of those, but I did a journey. And whenever I did a journey, I did it with such a depth and such a clarity that I knew what they were. So that was somehow a gift I had.
तो क्या ये गिफ्ट आपके पास्ट लाइफ में से आया है आपके पास?
ये गिफ्ट मेरे स्टोरी लाइन से आया है,
अच्छा.
नॉट फ्रॉम माई पास्ट लाइफ.
Okay. So, what's that storyline?
The storyline basically, how do I put it? My life actually began 600 years back as a human. And I have had multiple incarnations. But life actually it started around 2000 years back. It started as a soul. And I was created 2000 years back as a soul from the body of God. And then God gave the instructions to my soul. God knew why God created that soul. And the soul left the domain of God and soul entered this multiverse. And I went through different star systems, and the one that I was in before my journey as a human started was I was a Syrian. So I belong to the Syrian star system. So this was all given to me by God, revealed by God, and because people will ask me, how do you know all this thing? So when God came, God told me all these things. God revealed all my past lives. And the commonality of all my past lives was one thing: I suffered tremendously. And God said, you took birth only to know what suffering is at the human level. And when I had gone through all kind of intense sufferings of life, intense humiliations, intense shame, intense pain, then I became ready for God's work. Uh, of course, my current storyline was not designed to be God's messenger. It was designed for another journey where I would have a very normal life, not a great life, not a life of achievements, but a life of just going through life till one day God came.
Okay. So when you discovered all of this, that all of that is already within you, and it was God who actually showed you that path, was it a very different experience for you? Did you feel, no, there is some kind of happiness or fear that's there in your mind?
I am full of fear
Okay.
and I
All
have no
right.
happiness in my life
Okay. Why do you say that?
because I don't want happiness.
Oh, really? Here we all are struggling, to be happy,
Yeah,
to be
because
content.
that's because you are sad and I am not
Okay.
sad. So,
Okay.
what will I do with happiness?
All right.
Only a poor man wants money. I mean, they want riches, not money. Money we all want. Only a poor man wants to be rich. And a poor man can be a beggar on the street, and a poor man can be one driving a Rolls Royce and living in a palace. Both are poor, equally poor. So I didn't have anything to compensate in my life.
तो ये कौन से गॉड है जिन्होंने आपको इस प्रकार की एक भावना या फिर अवेयरनेस दी आपके मन में? इज देयर एनी स्पेसिफिक गॉड दैट यू वांट टू स्पेसिफाई?
You see, before God came to me and told me I have to work for God, I was already working with the gods that the humans worship. So my journey, because I was a healer, I was teaching others modalities. So I was curious, can I have my own modality? So from that place, I one day I used the word universe. So I said, if in the universe anyone is listening, I would like to have my own modality. And then I left it like that. So after some time, someone came in the non-physical domain and said, I can give you a modality. I said, okay. So we interacted. Then I said that, listen, there must be a few conditions that needs to be fulfilled by your modality. Number one, it has to be better than what I'm teaching. Number two, it has to deliver results in real time, which means you cannot tell me that practice this for 1 month and then you will see the results. Okay. Number three, uh, it should be teachable. I should be able to teach it to others, and they should get the same results that I would get as I am doing it. So this one's, and it has to be more simple than what I am currently teaching. You cannot give me anything that will be complicated. So that being said, yeah, all are fulfilled. So then first I practiced that modality on me. I found, yeah, beautiful results. Then I went and taught it in the class. So the first class I taught, there was a clairvoyant lady. And at the end of the class, she came and said, was Shiva in this room? And I said, yeah. So the being who gave me that modality was Shiva. So from that point of time, my journey with all the deities started. First it was Shiva, then later Rama came, Krishna came, Sai Baba came, Avatar Babaji came. I mean, there was a whole list. And then I was talking with all the gods, I was talking with all the demons, I was talking with all the devils, I was talking with all the good ones, all the bad ones, all the nasty ones, all the very, very dark ones. I could do anything. I could talk with anyone I wanted. This was all before God came.
So, how was your experience after talking with all the gods? What kind of questions did you
Uh,
ask them?
I found out they are not worth worshipping
Really? Why do you say that?
because they are not what is projected in the scriptures.
Okay.
They are much worse than me.
Okay. So then what happened? Like you
And how
said
I
that.
found out they are much worse than me. Shiva came,
Mm-hmm.
he took God's mantra, but when he started practicing, his father came and said, "You cannot practice that." Now, this one whom humans worship as a macho man, as the all powerful, didn't have the courage to stand in front of his father. And I am standing against his father for 9 years. So he couldn't face his father. I am facing his father every day. So he is much worse than me and he isn't worth worshipping.
तो हम जिस युग में अभी है, क्या आपको लगता है कि लोग आपको एक्चुअली फॉलो करेंगे आपके इस
मुझे
तरह के विचार के
ना
लिए?
ना कोई नहीं करेगा. No one will follow me.
Absolutely, no one will follow you, right?
Maybe a few here and there, but not like en masse. I am too much for humans.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
So आप बताइए कि now you can tell us, what is it that you've seen in Lord Shiva? Is it very similar to what we see in the statues or in the frames in the temples?
First thing you have to understand about the deities is they are shapeshifters.
Okay.
Okay, they can take on any form, any kind of identity, and any kind of shape and size. So they are shapeshifters. And because they are shapeshifters, humans got associated with one form because that was given to enhance the narrative around that form. But that may not be the form of Shiva. And it is not important as to what I saw because I didn't see. I can feel everything in this room, who is there, who is not there. So I cognize, I don't see. Seeing is known as clairvoyant. I am not a clairvoyant. I don't hear, that is a clairaudient. I don't have those psychic gifts. I have no mental gifts. My gift is a gift of the consciousness.
Okay.
And this gift of consciousness is beyond the five senses, which means I don't see, I don't hear, I don't feel, I don't smell, I have nothing that I can see, but I can know.
Okay.
And how do I know? Because it comes from the consciousness which is in me. Anything I want to know, I come to know. So people are like, how do you talk? Well, I say, I just talk. There's no how. And I cannot teach you because you don't have consciousness. Now you can talk telepathically, which is in the mind realm. So sometimes they don't understand. So I say, I talk telepathically just to end the conversation. But actually, I don't talk telepathically.
Okay.
I talk from a place of knowing, cognizing.
Okay.
And this cannot be understood by the mind because this is beyond the mind.
Got it.
So when I was talking with Shiva, I was not talking with my mind. I was talking through my consciousness. And because I was talking through my consciousness, I didn't need to see Shiva. But I came to know everything about that guy.
Okay. But you said consciousness, which means you're putting a lot of effort. Is it subconsciousness or consciousness?
No, consciousness is different. Subconscious, unconscious, conscious, these are all of the mind. There is no consciousness right from the one who is the king or whom humans called as Bhagwan all the way down There is no consciousness in any of the enlightened masters. There is no consciousness in any of the deities or in anything or in any human. It's pure mind. Consciousness is a part of God, is an aspect of God, is a quality of God. God never was in our universe till 2015. And if God gives you consciousness, then you will have consciousness. Otherwise, you will never have consciousness. And when I say God, I am not talking about the God that humans worship. So Shiva has zero consciousness.
Okay. But why did he select or choose only you, not anyone else?
Because I had the capacity to do. If you have the capacity, and it's just that they saw something in me which was very unique, which even I didn't know. The only thing I knew is how to talk with him. But what was unique in me, only he could see, and that's why he came.
So, what were your past lives like? So, you said you're an incarnated person. There is some kind of
No,
incarnation that you've gone
incarnation means
to.
not avatar.
Okay.
I'm talking about human incarnations.
Okay.
Like you currently have a human incarnation.
Yes.
So I have incarnated multiple times.
ओके तो कोई एक अवतार या फिर कुछ आप बोल सकते हो उसके बारे में लाइक एनी पास्ट लाइफ दैट यू फील दैट यू वाज इनटू दिस पर्टिकुलर बॉडी अर्लियर सो कैन यू
I
गिव
have
अस
been male, I have been female,
ओके
I have been in all kind of religions, and I have been tortured, I have been raped, I have been gang raped actually. I have been humiliated, I have been put into shame. I have gone through everything.
ओके सो so when you gave us all these examples have you done past life regression also?
The beauty with me is I don't need regression. In an instant, I can go into past life.
Oh, okay.
So I don't need regression.
So in the book that you've written, there is something that you've mentioned about karmas. Okay. Are we a byproduct of all the karmic deeds that we had with ourselves and with the outside world? Is our life revolving around that?
The answer is yes and no.
Okay. And why yes and why no?
Apparently, yes.
Okay.
Actually, no.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it apparently yes? Because, yes, it is true that whatever we do in our past life is carried forward. Because the definition of karma that I always give is karma is unfinished business. So anything which is unfinished is carried forward to the next life. But what kind of business? The business of your attachments and your aversions. We call it rag and dvesh. Okay. So any attachment you have for anything is carried forward. Any aversion you have for anything is carried forward. And any wanting you have for anything is carried forward. Karma is created from these three things and not from what you do.
Okay.
But people sometimes say, or many times say, that it is your actions which create karma. It is not your actions which create karma. Maybe I have a huge longing for a woman.
Okay.
Okay. I did not act, but a karma got created. And this thing gets carried over to another lifetime where the same longing shows up. And again, I am challenged either with not getting that person in my life, and maybe this time I may not, my sexuality might be reversed, or my relationship might be reversed.
Okay.
But that longing continues.
Got it.
So now, am I able to go beyond that longing? If I am able to go, my karma is gone. If I am not able to go, I create new karma. If I create some kind of aversions because of that longing, I create new karma. So it is not the deeds, it is your attitude, your wanting. These are the things that create karma. If I kill a person, that doesn't create karma.
But we've been taught right from our childhood, we create some karmic deeds with a particular person.
Yeah, that is what they told lies. The deeds never create a karma. Because I told you, if I kill a man, there is no karma. There is consequences. I have to go to jail. But consequences and karma are not same. You can't bring both together. Karma is always carried forward. Consequences are what is completed in this life.
Okay, and what is destiny then?
Destiny is what is already pre-written. So before you took birth, your storyline was already written. Before you were conceived, your storyline was already written. And when you took birth, you were given the number of breaths according to that storyline. So maybe you were given, not you, maybe someone is given a breath that that person lives only for 1 hour and then dies. And maybe someone is given a breath that person lives for 100 years and is able to probably go beyond because the breath is still there. So this is what is storyline, this is what is destiny, and in that storyline, every aspect of your life is already written, pre-written.
Okay, you're truly an inspiration, I must say that.
Inspiration? I don't know.
Okay, because today I learned and I kind of got to know so many things, which probably for a very very long time I had a very different way of looking at life, and probably you brought certain awareness in me where I'm actually thinking, is it even possible? Okay, so these are some of the thoughts which are actually crawling in my mind right now.
You said whether it is possible. What is about what actually you were thinking
I
about?
was thinking about, can God actually come and, select a human being to talk to?
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, that is not possible. It
Uh,
happened for the first time.
okay.
Maybe it will never happen again.
Again. And you were the chosen one, isn't it?
Yeah, I was the chosen one.
Yes.
True.
Great. Okay. I have one question for you which comes straight from your book. And it says, time and space are creations that show up in the mind of the king, and all dimensions are created in the mind of the king and exist within the mind of the king, appearing to be real for the humans. So I want to understand meaning of this sentence.
The first thing that you have to examine whether your current world is real or not. And in order to get a little bit of understanding about that, you have to go into your dream. And in your dream, you create exactly the same world, which is as real as the waking world is. In your real world, you have sun coming up and sun going down. Or in your dream world, you have sun coming up and going down. You have gravity. You have your own body, you have other bodies, you have events happening, the walls are as real, the floor is as real, but in an instant, your dream uncreates. So, creation of the dream and uncreation of the dream is in an instant.
Okay.
Bring that whole thing as an extension of the real world.
Okay.
Now people say real world is not the dream world. Why? The only difference between real world and dream world is in the real world you have a continuity. In the dream world you don't have a continuity, which means next night you when you go to sleep you have a different dream. Now if you can bring a continuity that wherever I left it yesterday night, tonight I will take it from there, then you will be living in a real world there. Because
Okay.
when you wake up, you are taking it now to the next forward.
Okay.
This is the only difference between the two world continuity and not having
Mm-hmm.
continuity.
Mm-hmm.
And because there is no continuity, you call that a dream world. Because here there is a continuity, you call that a real world.
Okay.
But as a quality of the world, they both are exactly same. They
Hmm.
both have the same laws. There is gravity, there is sunlight, there is shadow, there is moonlight. Everything is same. Now a question comes. Are you living in a dream world which has continuity? Or are you living in a real world which is not a dream? But God says you are living in a dream world which has continuity, and it is not your dream that you are dreaming. It is the dream of the king who is dreaming, and you are experiencing that dream as your real life.
Okay. Again, how do we go back to our dreams? But it's not
But there
possible
is
to.
there is no nothing to do. It is just an understanding that
Okay.
my life is as much a dream as the one that I am dreaming in my night.
Okay.
Only that is without continuity, this is with
With
continuity.
continuity.
That's the only
Great.
difference. People will say, no, here science is there. We are creating cars, we are creating aeroplanes, we are creating rockets. Well, given the time, you can create all those things in your dream also.
Then, if we do all of this in the dream, then how do we sleep?
Yeah, you cannot sleep. That's why you are not able to do. And if you don't sleep, then you will
Yeah.
fall sick.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is why you are not allowed to have a
Hmm.
continuity there.
Hmm.
And if you have a continuity there, now there will be a problem. I tell one example in some of my podcasts. In one of the place where I went, it was a one guru who was speaking, and there was one gentleman who addressed the guru and said that I have a very peculiar problem in my life. And what is my peculiar problem? That one lady lives a few doors away from me. I clearly remember her from my past life. She was my wife. We were in deep love with each other, and we couldn't live long. And now I want to live with her. But that lady doesn't remember that dream, that past life, because of which, when he expressed his love, there was a lot of unpleasant things that happened in his life. And he is like, what should I do? Because in Hindi we have a kahawat, na ghar ka na ghat ka. So which means he is neither here nor there. Neither he can belong to his own family where he is married, nor he can belong to that family. And what was the whole culprit? Remembering past life. So this past life is also another dream, but appearing to be real. So if your dream becomes real to you, you will not be able to live this life, because always you will be confused. Either is this real or is that real? And that question will kill you. But today you are sorted out because you know this is real and that is a dream.
Okay. So you have given me a complete difference between what is a dream, what is a life, and how do we have continuity in our life. So that's great. Thank you so much for that. My next question again comes from the same book again. I, God, had sent my son Kabir as a Hanuman incarnate among the humans
As a
about.
human incarnate.
Okay, it's human incarnate. Sorry about that. Amongst the humans, about 600 years back to India, to the city called Varanasi, to bring my children, the souls, back home. But how did you actually get all of this information from?
God gave me.
Okay. And that's again Lord Shiva, or is it Hanuman? Which god is this?
Neither. Okay, we have not up till now distinguished God from all other gods, and your viewers already must be confused. What am I talking about? God, God, God. Am I talking about Shiva? Am I talking about Hanuman? No. So let me, for the sake of your viewers, give an understanding about the various gods. The bottommost one, we call it as all the deities,
Okay.
and this includes uh, Durga, Shiva,
Hmm.
Vishnu, all those things, all the way down
Hmm.
to Krishna, Hanuman, Ram,
Hmm.
all the way down to Kuldevi, Gamdevi,
Hmm.
Bhudevi,
Hmm.
all the angels,
Hmm.
everyone in the lower world.
Hmm.
So this is one group.
Hmm.
We call them Devta, we call them deities.
Hmm.
Okay. This is the one whom humans try to access, try to worship, try to please.
Hmm.
Okay, this is the lowest group. Now, the one which is above this lowest group is known as the soul.
Okay.
Now, how come soul is above Durga and Shiva? A question someone can have.
Yes.
The reason being that Durga and Shiva dies in every creation at the end of every creation cycle, but the souls don't die. They are immortal.
Yes.
So, because they are immortal, they are above the deities. And the souls are also the creators, which the deities are many a times not. The souls can create much more than the deities can. So that's why the souls are above the deities. Now, the one who is above the soul is also a deity, but he is the highest deity. And that is why we call him as Mahadev.
So is that Lord Shiva?
No,
No?
that is not Lord Shiva.
ओके, क्योंकि हमने तो सुना है देवों के देव
Because
महादेव इज लॉर्ड शिवा.
exactly that is a deception.
ओके.
Mahadev is not Lord Shiva.
ओके.
Lord Shiva is the son of Mahadev.
ओके. ओके.
So this Mahadev is also known as Bhagwan. This Mahadev is also known as Allah. This Mahadev is also known as Jehovah. This Mahadev is also known as Father. When Jesus said, "Me, my Father, and Holy Spirit," he was talking to about this one, Mahadev. This one is also known as Vaheguru. This one is also known as Aura Mazda. So this is the highest deity who is the king of the multiverse in which the humans are living. And this king, his will prevails in this multiverse. Now, in all these things, there is no God. But people will say, but I have my God which is in the temple, which is true. For them, that is true. That is not the God I am talking about. People will say, God is within me, which is their soul. But that is not the God I am talking about. And some people will say, no, I know my God is Allah, which is also true. They will say, my God is Father, which is also true. They will say, my God is Jehovah, which is also true. They will say, my God is Vaheguru, which is also true. But that is not the God I am talking about. I am talking about someone beyond all these three. So this one we just call God or Parmatma. But the word Parmatma again has been a part of our vocabulary. But I say God never was in our universe. How come then this word came in? This word came in because whatever we call as Mahadev or Bhagwan, he proclaimed himself to be the ultimate and he proclaimed himself to be Parmatma. That is how humans know about Parmatma even before Parmatma came. And many humans tell me, what new have you brought? आप नया क्या लेके आए हो? हम तो परमात्मा को जानते हैं. We know everything about Parmatma. I say, you know nothing. Because the one who declared himself to be Parmatma is not Parmatma. But it is another matter. They don't agree with me and I am perfectly all right with it. But I am giving you the distinction. When I talk about God, I do not talk about the gods that you worship. I do not talk about the ones which is inside you.
सो क्या हम सभी में भी एक भगवान
है क्योंकि आज सबका तो सोल है. And now comes the funny part. The funny part I tell people is your soul is mostly not inside you. Mostly it is outside. It is in this multiverse roaming around. And then people say, no, not possible. Because if my soul leaves my body, I am going to die. I said, your birth your death and your birth has nothing to do with the soul being in your body. You need spirit. You don't need the soul for you to be alive. But people don't have the distinction between spirit and soul. You see, spirit in our culture is known as Atman. The soul in our culture is known as Atma. And they have combined both together. Atman and Atma, they feel both are same. And they are not same. So we have another name for Atman, or spirit, which is Ishwar. So I tell that you are basically five things. Which five things? You are a physical body, you are a mind, you are a character or personality. Three things done. You are an energy body, a amalgamation of 11 energy bodies, which was given to you by God, and you are spirit. So spirit was a body given to you by the king, energy body was given to you by God, and body, mind, personality you of course know because it is easily visible and easily accessible. So you are only five things.
Got it. So, what message do you have through this book, The Message from God?
Ah, the message that I tell people is you do not know God and I am giving you God. Number one. Number two, the one you know as God is the very reason why you are suffering and having pain, is the very reason why there is so much of war, is the very reason why there is so much of pollution, is the very reason why people are going through all kind of crisis, is the very reason why you are poor, and is the very reason why you are sick, is the very reason why you have no love in your life, is the very reason why you keep on crying, is the very reason why you have all kind of mental disorders and physical disorders. Everything good, bad, ugly happening in your life is because of the God that you worship, and that one is not a God. Why it is not a God? Because that one has to die, and anyone who dies cannot be God, can be a deity but cannot be God. What should you worship? Where is the need to worship? Why do you need to please anyone? I don't please anyone.
But then we've been tuned that way, right, from our
That was the
childhood.
deception created,
Hmm.
that you must worship. You must worship, otherwise, God will be angry on you, and you must worship to get the good things in your life.
So, are you saying that human beings are worshipping God because they're doing it out of their fear? So, they are God fearing, they are not God loving?
No one is God loving,
Mm-hmm.
and they are also doing from their wanting. Fear and wanting, fear and desires are the two things that take you to God. If both things are not there, you wouldn't need God in your life. What will you do with God? Let's say you want nothing in your life. What will you do with God? You will say, okay, आप आए हो तो बैठो इधर, चाय पी के जाओ. Can you imagine anything to do with your God if you have no wanting and no fear?
Actually, life is what without God? Because we've always learned this, we've kind of, inherited this completely.
That is what is known as the conditioning. We call it sanskara. I told you my parents never gave me any sanskara. And sanskara is nothing but a bunch of lies. So I was so fortunate they didn't give me a bunch of lies. I was free from those lies. And people say, no, if we don't give sanskara, our children will become bad. Well, I didn't become bad. And there are so many children full of sanskaras and they are no good. So where does it come that sanskara makes you a better person?
Mhm. Then, what kind of sanskara should we give to our next
Whatever
generation or
you
to our
want to,
kids?
whatever you want to. My father never gave me anything. My mother never gave me anything. They never told me what I should become. They never told me I should worship. They never told me what is my religion. They never told me what is my caste. I learned all these things when I had to fill the form.
In different schools, colleges, institutions? Got it.
They were least interested in all these things. They were very simple people. We just lived. We were more interested in like अगला ration कहाँ से आएगा. That was more important rather than कौन सा temple में जाए पूजा करने.
It's all about bringing food on the table.
Exactly, that's what matters because I have hunger.
Yes. And we are all human beings.
We are human beings.
Great. So काफी नेक है विचार आपके. Today I think we got to know and learn something really different. Through DK Talkies, we have a very different message for our viewers and with our and to our audience as well. And this was really an episode to watch. So all the spiritual lovers, people who feel, there is deep down much that people can do in their life. So this is the episode for all of them. Thank you so much for enlightening us with such a beautiful journey of your own life and of your book as well. Is there a last minute message that you have for our viewers?
Yeah, I have a last minute message. You see, I have not come here to take away your religion. Okay? I am not against any religion. Personally, I have no religion. And I am neutral towards religion. And I tell people that when you read my book, you will come to know how God, your God, not God, how your God used religion to stop you from coming to the real God. But that you can read my book if they want to. But let me come to the message. My message is very clear. I have a book and I have a healing card. Two things. So, so this is the English book that I have with me, Message from God, and this is the Hindi book that I have, Parmatma Ka Sandesh. It has also been printed in another three languages, Gujarati, Marathi, and Telugu. These are the five languages we have this book. Now, what is important in this book? It is not the content inside these pages. What is important is this image. And this image belongs to goddess and God. And if this image belongs to goddess and God, you will have a question that how can humans be God? Well, humans are not God. It is God has chosen a human in which God has put himself, and God comes across to humans through these two humans, and that is why the human is a God. Apart from that, now what is the message? The message is very simple. Are you happy with the God with whom you are with right now? If you are happy, you don't need this God. But if you have any pain and if you have any suffering, then share your pain and suffering with this God, with this image. Let's say, forget about whether it is human or God. Why go into a debate? Let us be very practical. Share it with this image. All your pain, suffering, all your miseries, all your stress, everything which kind of disturbs you, just share it with it. Keep the book down. And after 30 days, see if this image has delivered anything to you. Now, if the image delivers, you now have to make a choice. Do you want to be with the God I am talking with, or do you want to be with the God that you are worshipping? You make that choice. If this doesn't deliver, very simple. Put this book down. You don't need this book. That is number one. But this book costs 200 rupees. Why even spend 200 rupees for this book? I give you something which is free. And what I give you is, I'm giving you a healing card. And you can download this healing card from my website, alakgod.com, which is Alakh, Alakh, G-O-D, God. So alakgod.com. Download the digital card in your mobile in the language that you are okay with, either English or Hindi, and then talk to this image for 30 days and see if this image delivers anything. But let me warn you, number one, God will not give you what you want. God will not fulfill your wishes. God will not change you. God will not change the people in your life. God will not change your destiny. God will not rewrite the storyline in which you are currently moving through. God will not give you anything that you want or anything that you expect. That being so, find out what God is going to give you beyond that and see if that has any value or not. If it has no value, drop the card. If it has any value, you decide what you want to do. But you cannot keep your feet on two boats. One of the boat you have to choose. That's the only message I want to give to your viewers.
Thank you so much, sir. It was really nice talking to you. It was so nice to see and understand what message you have. It was really wonderful. Thanks a lot once again.
Thank you, Deepti.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Great. Sir, thank you so much for taking the time to share your thoughts and your insights and the story behind Message from the God. Your journey and the wisdom you've shared are sure to inspire many listeners and viewers today on DK Talkies. If people want to learn more about your work or get a copy of Message from God, I'm sure they will log on to alaggod.com. And thank you to everyone for tuning in and watching this particular episode. Be sure to check our book and dive deeper into the spiritual message Mr. Pradip Mukherji has to share. We will see you next time again on DK Talkies. Thank you.